Okay, we are on page 63 in your book, lesson 2. What you'll learn in this lesson is opening a file using MiniBridge, using Photoshop tools, saving workspaces, and navigating your image area. So Adobe Photoshop is an image editing program that can open an image captured by a scanner or digital camera, or downloaded from the web. It can also capture video images and vector illustrations. In addition, you can create new documents in Photoshop, including vector graphics, which are scalable image files. For example, the images can be enlarged or reduced in size with no loss of clarity. Before starting, make sure that your tools and panels are consistent by resetting your preferences. See Resetting Adobe Photoshop CS6 Preferences in the Starting Up section of this book. So that's on page 4. So go back to page 4, and we're going to do the steps to follow to reset Adobe Photoshop CS6 preferences. So we're going to press it. I'm at step 2 because I don't have Photoshop open. So I'm going to right now hold down Control, Alt, and Shift. And then I'm going to go find Photoshop by type here to search. Well, I'm not pressing the keys now, so I can type. Okay, now Control, Alt, Shift, and I'm going to click on Adobe Photoshop. And I've previously reset my settings. If this happens to you, we can try it again. But I'm thinking mine's not going to do it because I've already reset it once. But let's try it again. Photoshop and Control, Alt, Shift. I'm holding it down now. And now I'm clicking on that. Okay, here it goes. Delete the Photoshop settings file. Yes. Okay. And now we're back to page 63 in your book. So actually 64. You'll work with several files from the PS02 lessons folder in this lesson. Make sure that you've loaded those. We've already done that. So opening an existing document in MiniBridge. MiniBridge works like the standalone Adobe Bridge application but resides in Photoshop. You can access MiniBridge by using the File menu or by selecting Window Extensions, MiniBridge. So we've already launched Photoshop, and now I'm going to choose File, Browse, and MiniBridge. MiniBridge appears as a panel across the bottom of the workspace. If a message displays indicating that you must launch Bridge CS6, press Launch Bridge. Even though you will be instructed to use Adobe Bridge throughout the lessons in this book, you can also choose to use MiniBridge. Click on Favorites and select your username from the drop-down menu in the navigation pod on the left side of MiniBridge. You now see personal folders that you can navigate to, such as desktop, documents, and pictures. I don't see that here. If I click MiniBridge, I'm not seeing those options. And if I click here, that doesn't do it. I'm going to click Timeline. And then I'm going to click this over here. And maybe Panel Options. I don't think that's going to do it either. So I'm not seeing what it's saying I should see. So I'm just going to use Bridge. Okay, I'm going to go File, Browse and Bridge, and it's telling us in Step 3, double-click on desktop to see the folders on your desktop appear in the navigation pod, including the CS6 folder. So we need to navigate to our place where we saved our files. So mine's on my OneDrive. I'm going to just double-click my name. And then I think it's this one. Yep. And then I'm going to go to this class, which is Multimedia Marketing. And Waiting for the content to download right here. And right here is my folder, the CD files for CS6. I'm going to double click it. And let's see, we're on step 4. Double click the CS6 lessons folder to reveal the contents, and then click the PSO2 lessons. This is on page 65. So we need to get inside, okay, here, CS6 lessons. I'm going to need to find PSO2 right here. And it says, I'm at step 5, locate and double click to open the PSO201 done file, which is right here. You may keep it open as you work or close it once you have examined the file. As you practice with the files throughout this book, you will find that you are instructed to save a work file immediately after opening the original file. So open the file. This is what it's going to look like in the end. It says, I'm going to leave it open because we can refer to it, and I'm going to maximize my window. Now I'm at step 6, open PSO201. So open, or I'm sorry, I'm going to browse in Bridge. Here it is. Right here, PSO201. I'm going to double click that to open it, which is a starting file used for this lesson. Choose File, Save As. Navigate to your folder, which we're already here. In the file name text type PSO201, which is already there, _ work. And choose Photoshop from the Format drop-down menu. Okay, so this is going to be a Photoshop file, which means you can only open it in Photoshop. So click Save. And then now I'm on page 66. Discovering the Tools panel. When you start Photoshop, the Tools panel appears docked on the left side of the screen. By default, it is not floating. Right here is the Tools panel. There are 4 main groups of tools separated by functionality on the Tools panel. Selection, right here. Cropping. Selection, cropping, and measuring. Retouching and painting. Drawing and type, and navigation. At the bottom of the Tools panel, you find Set Foreground Color and Set Background Color, as well as Quick Mask. So you can see these are, this is the first group, and then here we have the second group. There's a little line separating them. There's a third group, fourth group, and then here's the colors. Okay, and it gives you a description of each of the tools. This is the move, selection or layers, marquee, makes rectangular, elliptical, single row, and single column selection. So right here, this one has a little arrow beside it. If you click the arrow, you see that there are several options. The tools that have the arrow have other options beside them. Okay. And you can read the descriptions on page 66 to 67 for all of these. Now we're on page 68. The Tools panel is a space-saving one-column format. Click on the double arrows in the gray title bar above the Tools panel to bring the Tools panel into the 2-column view. Okay, so right here, the double arrows, and there's the 2-column view that they're talking about. Click on the double arrows again to bring the Tools panel back to default single column. So you can use either one, whichever one you like best, I guess. With the selection of most tools comes the opportunity to change options. In this exercise, you will have the opportunity to use the new and improved brush tool and its options to become even more powerful. With the PSO201 work image open, click the brush tool. Okay, accessing tools and their options. With the selection of most tools comes the opportunity to change options. Okay, so number 1, with this work file image open, select the brush tool. Okay, so, and they all have names. When you point at it, the tool tip will pop up. or it should. Yep, brush tool. Okay, so we need to click on the brush tool, and then you're going to see up here, this is the options bar to see a variety of options that you can change. Most tools have additional options available in the options bar at the top of the workspace. Note that by default, your brush is loaded with black paint, which is right here. The paint color is indicated at the bottom of your tools panel in the foreground and background color swatches. Right here is the foreground, and this is the background color. Number 2, click once on the foreground color to open the picker so you can select a different color. So this is, again, if I point at it, this one's the foreground color, so I'm going to click that. The color picker pops up. Click on, okay, and then we're going to, using the color picker, you're able to select a blue color that you will use to brighten up the sky. In the color picker, I'm at the top of page 69, click once on the section of the color slider that contains blue hues. So here's the color slider. I'm going to click on here that has all the blue hues. And then choose a bright blue color from the large color panel. Keep in mind that depending on the destination of your image, you might not be able to achieve the same color of blue that you see in the screen. In lesson 5, we'll learn more about color. So let's go ahead and click on any blue color. This is for the sky, so I'm going to make it bright blue. Click the brush tool. Okay, so then I'm going to click OK. And we've changed the color. Click the brush preset picker to see your options for size and hardness. There are several options that you can change. For now, you will focus on 2. Click the brush preset picker, which is right here. We can change size and the hardness, and there's all kinds of tips there too. So I'm on page 70. Click and drag the size slider, which controls the size of the brush, to the right until you reach 100 pixels. So I'm going to slide this over, and there we go. If the hardness slider, which controls the hardness or softness of the brush, is not all the way to the left at 0%, slide it left now, and it is at 0. This is now a large, soft brush that will blend well at the edges of the strokes. In the next step, you will paint and then undo it. This is to help you understand the concept of blending and how it can make a difference when you paint. So number 6, click and drag anywhere in the image one time to create a brush stroke across your image. Note that you have created a large opaque streak. So I'm going to click and drag and let go. Choose Edit Undo Brush Tool. Or Control Z to undo the paint streak. Now click and hold the Painting Mode drop-down menu. You see a list of options that allow you to change how your paint interacts with the image underneath. Select Color from the bottom of the list.
This is never at night.
Okay, so we need to go to right here, the painting mode right here is normal. We need to click the arrows. And way at the bottom, we're going to choose color. Okay. Click the arrow to the right of the opacity option to see the slider. Click and drag the opacity slider to the left until it reaches 20%. Here's opacity, and we're going to put it right about 20%. Right there. And then now click and drag to paint in the upper right corner of the image. You see that the result is quite different, and you are brightening the sky in the upper right corner. So right here, see how it's making a difference there? Looks kind of cool. Notice that you can build up the color by releasing the paintbrush and painting over the same area. So it makes it darker when you let go of the mouse button and then click some more. It makes it darker. Okay. If you make a mistake, choose Edit Undo or Control Z. Choose File, Save.